Welcome to the early release collaboration on April 13th, 2016. It's my privilege to talk to you about the three-phase roll-in program of the Next Generation Science Standards in the Oshkosh Area School District. And today we're going to be focusing on elementary. This summer, over 40 educators came together to look at implementing the Next Generation Science Standards framework in the Oshkosh Area School District. We know that one of the goals in Priority Area 5 of the strategic plan is to ensure that all students are college, career, and community ready. As a group, we knew that we needed to define what that meant for science, especially when we're talking about implementing the Next Generation Science framework. The educators came together and we agreed upon that being college, career, and community ready in science means that students are inquisitive and innovative learners who apply their knowledge to problem solve, think critically, evaluate evidence, collaborate, and adapt to an ever-changing world. As we looked at that definition, we knew there were many similarities to this for science and mathematics. This school year, we've been working on finding a K-5 comprehensive math curriculum, and several of our colleagues have been piloting either everyday math or bridges for mathematics. We want to thank all of our pilot teachers. All of the data and the work that you've put in has been invaluable when it comes to making a decision. We'd also like to thank our Roosevelt colleagues who participated as a control group when we started to look at our data in the math pilot. Putting all of the data together, it's our recommendation that we go with Bridges in Mathematics for our K-5 math program. Overwhelmingly, the data showed that this is a comprehensive program that incorporates all of the pieces that we feel are key when it comes to teaching mathematics in the Oshkosh Area School District, including the components of Advantage Math Recovery, the conceptual pieces of mathematics along with computational fluency, and Bridges in Mathematics is the recommended K-5 curriculum that transitions students into our 612 math curriculum, College Preparatory Mathematics, or CPM. We are very pleased to get this up and running for next school year and have professional development already scheduled, if board approved, coming up later in the month of May. Notice that we'll have one more set of dates for professional development sometime after summer school comes to a close, so that our colleagues teaching summer school will have an opportunity to have their training before the school year begins. Please be on the lookout for emails with more information. So once again, going back to that definition of students being college, career, and community ready in science, we know that applies to the math pieces. And what does that mean as we transition from what we currently do in science to a next generation science framework? Well, the group that got together in an elementary science task force that has been meeting throughout the year has put together a three-phase roll-in plan. And we know with the implementation of Bridges next year as our new math curriculum that we really want to do this in a systematic way that's going to be easy for our teachers, make sense, and be as stress-free as possible. So what does this three-phase roll-in program look like? As you look at this graphic, this covers K-12. I'll focus on the elementary piece. But the first phase is awareness and understanding of the Next Generation Science Framework. We've completed the summer task force, and the people involved, or the educators involved in the task force, have gained an understanding of the three dimensions of the Next Generation Science Standards, the science and engineering practices, cross-cutting concepts, and disciplinary core ideas. And we've been researching scope and sequences in different units and programs. In elementary, what that means is that we've actually been piloting some of the engineering units or the engineering components that are key in the Next Generation Science Framework. Shapiro Elementary School and some of our colleagues across the district, some of them are here with you today at your grade level. We'll talk a little bit more about their pilot and some of the things that they've been doing. In addition, this past January, our STEM coach, Sarah Adamat, did a training for about 60 elementary educators on engineering as elementary. And we'll talk more about those units and some pilots that are taking place. So that is this school year. Next school year would be going into the bridging phase of the next generation science standards. And so continuing to plan scope and sequence in K-5 as well as 6 through 12, focusing on how we put together the middle school and high school course sequencing, how students transition to high school, etc. And then in phase 3, 2017 and 18 and beyond, we'll begin the implementation of that scope and sequence because it'll be a roll or phase-in, be looking at research-based instructional practices within that framework so that we're in a position that K through 12 we would be fully implemented in the fall of 2018. Well, none of this happens without some training and some professional development. So ongoing professional learning is being planned K through 12. For our elementary colleagues, what we're going to be asking is that you go through 3 levels of training or professional learning so that we're ready to go the fall of 2018. And notice this is spread out over time, and you're going to have choice of when you can do this so that you can implement in your classroom when you're ready. So the first level is getting a next generation science standards overview, and this will be in our Canvas online learning management system. And this Canvas course will be short, and you can do it anytime between now and August 2017, and we'll have several cohorts put together so that you can get that understanding or that overview taken care of. It'll be about the next generation science framework, the disciplinary core ideas, science and engineering practices, and the cross-cutting concepts. Then we would have our colleagues go on to level 2, where we'd be focusing on science and engineering practice, where elementary teachers would have engineering as elementary training and hand-to-mind training on those particular pieces that put together the science practices and the engineering practices. There's 8 of them, by the way, and guess what? There's 8 mathematical practices. So that'll be in a workshop or in-service type format with some follow-up, and our goal would be to have everybody through that by January 2018. Then the next would be level 3, and that would be facilitating learning through modeling-based inquiry, where we would get that completed by August 2018. So there would be opportunities throughout the school year and also during the summer. Modeling-based inquiry, anchored in science and engineering practice number 2, developing and using models, sounds pretty complicated, but we'll work you through that, and it's a lot of fun. When students get engaged in those practices, you're going to notice a high level of engagement and fun within the classroom. We're looking at either a full day workshop or 2 4-hour workshops put together, along with following up in a collaborative type format, and then also focusing in on the 2 cross-cutting concepts of energy and systems that are pretty prevalent across a lot of our units within the science framework. So then, what does that mean for elementary units and when I had talked about pilots? So during this school year, some of your colleagues have been piloting actual engineering units. Our Shapiro colleagues have been have done all of these units along with some of our Webster Elementary, Oakwood colleagues, etc. have been working through these. Also Franklin, shout out to Franklin Elementary, that's also currently working on an elementary pilot in 5th grade. So each one of these that you can see here are units that we've already vetted out and would be ready to pilot if you so choose next school year. So think about that if you might want to do that. But before you engage one of the pilot units, we would want you to have engineering as elementary training, like if you did it this past January. If you do it sometime this summer, you could sign up, or possibly sometime in the fall. But if you're ready and you want to give it a try, these are the ones that we have ready to go for you to pilot in 16-17. So these are engineering type units grounded in the science. So what does that mean for our science units? Well, the Elementary Science Task Force has been working on what this means for science and where all of these pieces go so that we're lined up with the next generation science standards. So when it comes to curriculum, here's how it's going to go. Our goal is to be fully implemented in the fall of 2018. So to make that transition, we're going to have a science unit map for 16-17, and you're going to have the opportunity, if you choose, to do some pilots or to pilot one of those engineering units. Then we're going to take that science unit map or grid, push it out to the side, pitch it, and then we're going to transition to a science unit map for the 17-18 school year, where there'll be one science unit with the engineering at each grade level that we'll implement, and we'll have you ready to go. Then we're going to pitch that science unit map or put it in the archive, and we're going to transition to our final science unit map for 2018-19, so we're fully implemented. The Science Elementary Task Force felt that this is the best way to do this without creating any gaps and making it less confusing for everyone. So we're working on those right now, and you'll see those as we progress into the summer and get ready for the fall. In addition to this, unfortunately, there is no science program ready to go like our Math Bridges program. So to help us get ready, and the biggest changes when it comes to shifting science units around are in grades 3, 4, 5. So there'll be an opportunity for summer curriculum writing in grades 3, 4, and 5 this summer and next summer 2017. Kindergarten actually has no shifts in science units or science concepts or topics, and grades 1 and 2 have a minimal shifts. So there'll be opportunities for summer curriculum writing in 2017. And all of that will be wrapped up into those science unit maps we just talked about. Now, as you know, managing all these resources and these kits is quite a job. So each elementary school is going to have a designated science resource manager. And we'll compensate you. It's not going to be a lot, but if this is something that you're interested in, watch for an email, and you could possibly be the science resource manager for your elementary school. So watch for an email to sign up to help us put together and be really good stewards of our resources when it comes to science kits, new ones that we may be purchasing, and the engineering pieces. So watch for an email if you're interested in being the science resource manager for your school. So that's the short version of how we're going to start to roll this in and implement that. But the key to all of this is that as we approach science and as we approach learning in the next generation science standards and in this framework, is that it's not about learning facts, it's not about the actual concepts, it's about really the part about thinking, that critical thinking piece, and it's about those practices. We'll get there. We really appreciate your time and energy, and all of the people that have served on the task force and that have been doing pilots. We really appreciate you and putting this together. We're excited to put this in place. Each of the teachers that have done any of the engineering pilots have found that students are having a lot of fun and they're really engaged. So have a great rest of your collaboration. Be on the lookout for emails and more information, and have a great day.